Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of Coming Out on Top. So, let's jump right back in. You've lost sight of him. You try his office. The door is closed. You give the door an urgent knock. Nothing. Come on, Alex. You knock again. Suddenly, you hear his voice, muffled behind the door, telling you to come in. I'm sorry. I suppose I shouldn't be following you and making a scene, but... Okay, hold on. Alright. So, I need to know what's going on. Thanks for checking up on me. I need to talk to you in any case before they do. They? Alex sighs. Would you mind closing the door, Phil? He sees you arch your eyebrow. Normally I wouldn't shut it, but it just doesn't matter anymore. You close it. Let me guess, does this have something to do with that Graham guy? Yes, the man who interrupted us the other day. I saw his editorial in the paper. I'm guessing he's trying to get you fired? Graham teaches graduate level biochemistry in our department. When he started here 3 years ago, it was taken for granted he'd be bringing a lot of research money to Orlin. He specializes in cell metabolism and how it affects weight loss. As you can imagine, there's a lot of interest in multi-billion-dollar companies in funding his research. He was a shoo-in for tenure too. Most candidates would have to wait at least 5 years, but it seemed like he was on the fast track. Unfortunately for him, his research hit a snag. His recent paper to the journal was retracted. There's been some questions as to whether his initial results were just flukes. So he's doing another round of experiments this year, in his quest for a multi-million-dollar grant. Not to mention the tenure and influence that will inevitably come with it. But what does all this have to do with you? Well, tenured professors at this university, like in the rest of the country, are a rare and shrinking species. There's only going to be one spot open in our department for a long, long time. When I was hired this year by the dean, I don't think Graham was worried. He saw me as primarily a lecturer, and a researcher second. Sure, you'll get great ratings from your students, but they're not really a threat as a tenure candidate if you don't bring in the money. But he's seen my track record, and it's only the matter of another publication before I could be considered for tenure as well. Then, okay, I didn't even read the right word. This would have all been a non-issue if his recent publication hadn't been retracted, of course. The timing couldn't be worse for him, given that he's being reviewed for tenure this year. And so you're his biggest threat to getting tenure? That's what this is all about? That's only part of it. The dean likes me, my teaching abilities, and the work I've published. She actually wooed me from my former school by suggesting the possibility of an early tenure review, possibly even within my first year. And the dean and Graham have some kind of falling out over this. I was still hired, much to Graham's dismay. Again, it wasn't going to be a big deal if Graham's paper had never been retracted, and helped secure his grant. But ever since the retraction, he's been convinced the dean and I have teamed up against him, which is totally untrue. I stepped into all of this blind. So he's decided to pursue a narrative that will make me look bad, but more importantly, will make the dean look worse by association. To the point where he's following you around and harassing you? As you saw last week, Graham came into my office directly to tell me his plans for a faculty-wide meeting on the professional code of conduct. The topic is sexual relations between professors and students. The dean's tired of his histrionics, and refused to grant his request. Unfortunately, you can see this only provoked him to write an op-ed in the paper, drawing immediate suspicion to our department. It doesn't look good, Phil. The dean had to back down and grant his request. Graham approached me again yesterday. Apparently, we are going to be having an administrative meeting next week. Phil, it's a hearing about me, not a general discussion about policy. They're starting an investigation. What? He's got no proof. That's what I thought too, Phil, but I'm wrong. Graham's hinted that he has a photo of you and me from the day in the locker room. It's not explicit, but looks far from innocent. Well, that explains it. There was a girl in the locker room who took a photo of us. Oh, it's probably one of his poor PhD lackeys tailing me. I wonder if he was just waiting for a new naive professor to trip up and do something idiotic. But we didn't do anything. Well, anything really bad. It doesn't matter. That photo looks incriminating. In any case, Graham's been very smooth about this. He hasn't delivered the photo to the administration yet. He's hoping I just back down politely, finish up the semester here, and quietly apply to another school. Hands stay clean, nothing ends up on public record. He doesn't want to make a big stink about this. He and the dean are already on poor terms. There is some good news, though, Phil. Good news? No matter what happens, you can't be kicked out of school or reprimanded. The onus of responsibility is solely with the professors. You'll be able to finish your semester here and graduate without a hitch. Well, that's good. When I explained to them during the investigation that it was all my fault and you did absolutely nothing... You don't need to explain anything, Phil. I'm withdrawing from Orlin. What? I've already written my letter of resignation. And I'm handing it in to the dean on Monday. I'm done here. Graham has too much power within the administration now. This investigation means a lot of people will be prying into my private affairs. Even if I survive the hearing unscathed, I can't stay in a place where I'm constantly being harassed. Look at what happened today. I choked, and that's never happened to me before. Even back in my early days of teaching. It wasn't even Graham and the threat of a hearing that's been getting to me. It's the fact I can't teach in these circumstances. You listen, trying to believe your ears. You search for the right words to say. You can do this? Are you really going to give up so easily? I don't know if I'm cut out for this aspect of academia, Phil. I'm not a political person. Sometimes I think I'd be better suited for something that doesn't require so much political acumen. Look, you're a great professor. Please reconsider. You can't let him win so easily. Oh, Jesus. I know I'm just one of hundreds of students you have, but I'd hate to think you'd stop teaching over this. You're wrong. You're not just one of hundreds of students to me. Oh. I think I better change the subject. You know what? I'm gonna save right here. Let's do it at the very end. There we go. 'Cause I'm gonna do his full thing first. And then in my own spare time, I'm gonna do his other choice. Yeah, good idea. Both of you fidget uncomfortably. I appreciate you coming by, Phil. Thanks for the chat. You wander into the brightly lit hallway. You have no idea what's in store for either you or Alex, but you can't shake off the nagging feeling there's more trouble ahead. Wednesday. You check your phone and see a half-dozen text messages from Penny. Are you out of class yet? Get over to the cafe ASAP. Ian says he's forgiven you. He also says you owe him big time, but you need to hurry up and get over here. You start to run. This better not be one of your pranks, Ian. You're out of breath by the time you reach the cafe. Ian peers at you from behind the espresso machine when you walk in. Yanking off his apron, he shouts to his coworker that he'll be back in 5. Took you long enough. What's going on? We don't have time for details, Phil. Is she still upstairs, Penny? Yeah, she's in the alcove. What the heck is this about? Dude, what's going on? I showed Ian a photo of the girl from the gym just to see if she looked familiar, since pretty much all of Orland sets foot in here sooner or later. You mean the super orange tanning spray photo? Dude, at first I thought Penny was showing me some new type of porn. You know, they say if you can think of it. Shut up, Ian. Anyway, it turns out she hangs out here sometimes. I'm always highly cognizant of redheads. Can we please move the story along? We don't have much time. Anyway, she's usually in here hunched over her laptop on her cell phone, looking miserable and freaking out over one thing or another, so naturally, I had her pegged as a grad student. And guess what? She was upstairs this morning, so I decided to listen in from my spot near the potted plant. Your spot? You have an eavesdropping spot? It's very inconspicuous. Excellent acoustics. Look, just a little while ago she was having a fight with somebody on her phone. Sounded like she was going to go meet them in a bit. A disgruntled voice calls from the register. Ian, are you gonna clear those tables, or am I working the rest of your shift for you too? Just a second. Man, I swear, the help around here could really use some help. We should follow her, Phil. I bet anything Graham's the one telling her to spy on you and Alex. Whatever she's up to, here's our chance to catch her in the act. I'll head upstairs to clear some tables. That way I can keep you posted. You two hang out here for a while. Keep out of sight, and guys, stay frosty. You and Penny stay in the corner of the cafe, hidden out of sight. After a minute, Ian reappears. Heads up! Target's on the move. Repeat, target is on the move. The three of you try to look inconspicuous as the girl walks out of the cafe. Okay, let's get a move on. She is moving with alarming speed. You and Penny almost lose sight of her as she runs across the street, back towards the campus. Shoot! Where did she go? You know, if I just had an app that could project the trajectory of an object based on its velocity and movement history, we could probably figure out where she's headed. Let me do a quick check. Penny, given that Graham and Alex are both in biological sciences, she's probably heading toward the bio building. Shoot, you're no fun. Hey, there she is. You follow the girl into the building, trying to keep a comfortable distance to avoid suspicion. She disappears into a stairwell. Wait, we're too close. She's going to spot us. But we don't want to lose her. Well, I'm guessing if she's not going to Graham's office, then she's probably headed towards the research wing. I don't know which floor that is. Hang on, Phil. Campus Mapper should tell us where to go. But it's still in beta. Beta is final release these days, Phil. Didn't you see the article on lazycoder.com? That way, you get people to pay you to be beta testers. It's genius. Genius, I say. You silently wonder how many beta testers are still missing because of Penny's app. Penny pulls out her phone and opens Campus Mapper. 4 flights up, where the graduate labs are. All right then, let's get going. Oops. You and Penny race up 4 flights of stairs. You feel a sharp cramp in your side and pray Penny's app is correct. The door on the 5th floor landing spills into a gray, nondescript corridor. The two of you, exhausted from the climb, stop and look around. She must be in there! You try to catch your breath. Your nervous, cautious footsteps echo through the hall. Penny heads straight to the door marked restricted area. Penny, wait! Before you could stop her, Penny yanks open the door and barges into the room. Okay. Before the girl can react, Penny charges and snatches the bag out of her hands. All right, what's in this suspicious-looking sack? Probably her lunch. What the? Give that back to me. Are you PETA terrorists? I'm calling security. The girl's eyes dart to your face, then widen in recognition. Oh, it's you. All right, let's see what's in here. Penny opens the sack. Oh no. Without warning, Penny hurls the bag towards you. Penny, what the hell? What is this? Oh my god, keep that away from me. You grip the bag tightly in your hands, but almost drop it when it suddenly moves. You open the bag and take a look inside. Several pairs of beady eyes glare back at you. The bag contains several mice. Aw, but they're cute. Why are these mice so freaking huge? The mice, stamped with numbers, are the fattest you've ever seen. Give me that back. First, tell us who you are and why you've been following me. I'm just a grad student I was following orders. My name is Edwina. Professor Coxburn is my advisor. He's the one who asked me to spy on Professor Davies. Why would you even agree to that? Look, you have no idea what it's like being a grad student and having Graham as your advisor. I do all his errands, his grunt work. I'm basically his slave. You should know. It wasn't always like this, okay? I was initially thrilled when Graham agreed to be my advisor. He's done groundbreaking research on cellular metabolism. I enrolled in the biochemistry program at Orland just to work with him. His research was attracting interest from international drug manufacturers, stuff that might lead to the development of an effective weight loss pill. You can only imagine how many millions of dollars gravitate towards something like this. But it wasn't why I was dying to work with him. I'm interested in cellular metabolism because of its link to telomeres and longevity. Though Graham's research is geared specifically towards weight loss, I thought our passions would still intersect nicely. You've got to understand, this stuff is absolutely thrilling to me. Graham, despite having a challenging temperament, is more driven than anybody I know, especially with his review for the tenure on the horizon. Unfortunately, that was all before the journal retracted his breakthrough paper, noting that there were some inconsistencies with the research data, and he was devastated. What inconsistencies? He thought he had synthesized a chemical that would speed up cellular metabolism, but let me guess. You nod at the sack in your hands. Fat mice? After about 8 weeks, the chemical had an unexpected side effect, and our test subjects started putting on an enormous amount of weight. So your miracle pill doesn't work, and now you're destroying evidence? You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Whoops. We were convinced we just needed more time, a couple of adjustments, and of course more funding. He and the dean have been constantly butting heads over this, to the point he's convinced that she's out to get him at every turn. But you guys were going to falsify your findings! I know how awful it sounds, but you have to understand. You start thinking everybody's against you, that Graham's just misunderstood, and it's the two of you against the world. I realize it was a mistake to choose him as my advisor, but I've invested so much time and energy into getting into grad school, and then working with Graham to save his research project. Edwina sighs wearily. I still don't get why you needed to drag Alex and me into this. Like I told you, Graham thinks that the dean has it out for him, and he convinced me Professor Davies was here purely because of his connections, and didn't know much about biology. I mean, come on, Professor Davies looks like an underwear model. I know it's unfair, but Graham kept insisting Davies was a hack, with very little work to his credit. It wasn't until recently I realized Alex has actually published, and his papers have been fairly well received. But thinking he was a bad guy, I agreed to follow him around. So you became a spy? Yeah, I know it's crazy, but look, do you know how much sleep you get as a grad student? How much time you spend working? It affects your thought process after a while. In fact, it wasn't until that day at the gym when I saw you in the pool that it hit me. What kind of sick, twisted person had I become? Here I was, sneaking around, taking photos of shirtless men in the gym. Anyway, this morning, Graham told me I was needed back in the lab to dispose of our latest botched experiment. He got into a nasty fight. He has a really frightening ability to wear me down, and I told him I'd do it. What he doesn't know is that I'm done with this. This is the last straw. I was going to take these mice home with me and try to figure out how to pretend I got rid of them. Believe me, I don't want to be Graham's lackey anymore and be part of his crazy paranoid schemes. Edwina, what's going on here? Uh-oh. Edwina, did you invite these two? No, but... Then these two are trespassing. This is classified research. You mean faked classified research? But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!